We often misunderstand success. We see the grand unveiling, the finished masterpiece, the moment in the spotlight, and we make a critical error. We believe that is where success is born. We think it is an event, a singular, explosive, dramatic event that changes everything in an instant. This is the most common myth, and it is the one that holds more people back than any other. Success is not an event. It is a process. It is not a destination you arrive at suddenly. It is a direction you travel deliberately day by day. The breakthrough, the so-called overnight success, is merely the moment when the invisible becomes visible. It is the day the world takes notice of work that began years before. What you are witnessing is not the beginning. It is the culmination. Think of a bamboo tree. For years after it is planted, there is little to see, no remarkable height, no impressive sprout. Just consistent, quiet underground work. The roots are spreading deep and wide, building a network, a foundation that is utterly essential. Then in a single season, it shoots upward, reaching staggering heights. Was that growth sudden? Or was it the inevitable, visible result of all the prior, invisible seasons of preparation? Your life, your goals, your character, they grow precisely the same way. The work that matters most is often the work no one sees. This leads us to a fundamental law. Opportunity does not create preparedness. Preparedness creates opportunity. The chance meeting, the lucky break, the right door opening at the right time, these are not random gifts. They are echoes. They are the universe responding to a frequency you have been broadcasting through your daily discipline. When you are prepared, when you have done the invisible work, the world has no choice but to present you with a visible platform. The prepared mind, the skilled hand, the developed character, these are the magnets for fortune. Luck is not a strategy, preparation is. And how do we build this preparedness? It is forged under pressure, not the pressure of a single catastrophe, but the gentle, consistent pressure of daily choice. Pressure does not build character. Pressure reveals character. It reveals the patterns you have been practicing when no one was watching. Consider two people facing the same professional setback. One unravels. They blame external forces, lament their misfortune, and descend into inaction. The other responds with a calm assessment. They adjust their plan, seek feedback, and dedicate themselves to a new skill. The pressure of the moment did not create these responses. It simply revealed the underlying patterns. The first person had practiced the pattern of victimhood in 1,000 small, private thoughts. The second had practiced the pattern of solution finding in their daily approach to minor problems. The crisis was merely the spotlight, or consider health. The pressure of a medical warning does not create a healthy lifestyle. It reveals the absence of one. The person who responds effectively is the one who has already practiced the patterns of discipline, choosing water over soda occasionally, taking the stairs sometimes. Understanding that a single choice is insignificant, but the pattern of choices is everything. Pressure is the great revealer. It shows you and the world what you have been cultivating in the quiet moments. To cultivate the right patterns, you must guard one asset above all others: your focus. Your attention is the seed of all achievement. You cannot plant a seed in 10 different places and expect a mighty tree. You must choose your ground, plant your seed, and protect that single spot. Distraction is the weed that steals nutrients from your chosen crop. In our world, distraction is not an inconvenience. It is a direct attack on your potential. You must protect your focus like a jeweler protects a diamond. You must schedule it, shield it, and value it more than empty entertainment or the trivial opinions of others. The focused application of energy over time is an unstoppable force. Scattered energy is a guarantee of mediocrity. The sequence of growth is always the same. It is a cycle. First, you learn. You acquire a new piece of knowledge, a new skill fragment, a new perspective. But learning alone is merely accumulation. It is ownership of facts, not power. So next, you must apply. You take that fragment and you use it. You attempt, you try, you execute, however clumsily. This is where most stop. They apply once and expect a masterpiece. The third step is evaluation. You must look at the result of your application with ruthless honesty, not with self-judgment, but with the eye of a scientist. What worked? What did not? Where was the gap between intention and outcome? This leads to the fourth step, correction. You adjust your approach. You refine the skill. You tweak the knowledge based on the feedback from reality. Then you apply again. And you repeat this cycle, learn, apply, evaluate, correct, with a fifth element woven throughout: persist. You persist through the awkwardness of early application. You persist through the discomfort of honest evaluation. You persist through the patience required for careful correction. This sequence is the engine of all progress. This requires a force more reliable than motivation. Motivation is a weather pattern. It comes and goes with your feelings, with external inspiration. Discipline is the climate. It is the system you build regardless of how you feel. You do not wait to feel motivated to build the foundation. You follow the blueprint because the blueprint exists. Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. It is the commitment to the process, not the fleeting emotional reaction to the idea of the result. You must build systems that bypass your moods. A system for your morning, a system for your work, a system for your learning. When you rely on motivation, you are at the mercy of a fickle breeze. When you build discipline, you construct a sail that can catch any wind from any direction. This brings us to the necessity of strategic patience. We have confused patience with inaction. Strategic patience is intensely active. It is the patience of the farmer. He does not plant a seed today and dig it up tomorrow to see if it has grown. He does not yell at the crop for not growing faster in May. He understands the seasons. He tends to the field daily, watering, weeding, protecting, all while trusting the process unfolding beneath the soil. He knows his work is not to force growth, but to create the conditions for growth. Your goals have seasons. There is a season for planting foundational skills, a season for consistent practice, a season for refinement, and only then a season for harvest. To demand the harvest during the planting season is not ambition. It is ignorance of the law of the farm. Apply this law to your life. This process of strategic patience is guided by one essential tool: feedback. You must become a student of your own results. Without measurement, there is no correction. Without correction, there is no refinement. You must have a way to track your small gains, to see the incremental progress that is invisible to the naked eye. This is not about obsessing over outcomes. It is about studying your methods. Did that new approach to your work yield 20 more minutes of focused time? Did that subtle change in your communication lead to a slightly better response? Feedback is the compass. Your feelings about the journey are the weather, subjective and changeable. The compass provides objective direction. You must learn to read it. You must then have the courage to correct your course based on what it tells you. This is how you refine raw effort into effective skill. This is how you transform activity into achievement. And here is where the magic truly begins. This cycle, practiced with discipline and guided by feedback, creates a force more powerful than any single effort: momentum. Momentum is the flywheel effect. At first, pushing that massive, heavy flywheel is exhausting. You push with all your strength and it moves an inch. You push again and it moves another inch. The work is hard and the progress seems negligible, but you persist. You continue to push in a consistent direction, and with each push, the wheel turns a little faster. It stores the energy of your previous efforts. Then, a critical threshold is passed. The momentum shifts from something you create to something that carries you. The wheel's own weight and spin now aid your efforts. Your same push creates far greater rotation. This is the compounding of consistent small gains. The first push is learning a new word. The next is using it. The next is understanding its nuance. Soon you have command of a language. The first push is saving $1. The next is investing it. The next is earning a cent of interest. Soon you have the powerful force of compound growth working for you. Momentum is not luck. It is physics. It is the inevitable result of force, applied consistently in a single direction. This brings us to the ultimate goal. It is not the single breakthrough. It is to make breakthrough your lifestyle. To make the process of growth, refinement, and compounding gains the central theme of your existence. The emotional elevation does not come from reaching a peak and staying there. That is a fantasy. The elevation comes from the climbing itself, from knowing you are stronger today than you were yesterday. From the deep, quiet confidence that comes from being a person who does what they say they will do for themselves. When you fall in love with the process, you are freed from the anxiety of the outcome. The outcome becomes a natural byproduct, not a life or death verdict on your worth. You begin to derive satisfaction from the discipline itself, from the well-organized plan, from the completed task. from the lesson learned in a so-called failure. This is emotional maturity. This is lasting confidence. It is built not on a tower of achievements, but on the solid ground of a trustworthy character. So you must ask yourself, where have I been waiting for an event? Where have I overlooked the power of the small, consistent push? The answer is likely in the very area of your life you most wish to change. Begin there. Not with a grand, unsustainable overhaul that shouts of change on Monday and whispers in defeat by Wednesday. Begin with a single, small, non-negotiable action. A 5-minute action. A 1-sentence action. An action so small that failure is virtually impossible. Then defend that action with your life. Do it every day. Let that be your first small gain. Measure it. A check mark on a calendar. That is your feedback. That check mark is a testimony to your new pattern. From that single point of consistency, add another. Let the flywheel begin to turn. Remember the stonecutter. He hammers at the rock 100 times and nothing seems to happen. On the 101st blow, the rock splits in two. It was not the last blow that did it. It was all that came before. Your life is that rock. Your consistent efforts are each a blow. You may not see the fissure forming. You may not feel the progress. But with each strike, you are weakening the resistance. You are storing energy. You are building the inevitable conditions for the break. The principle of consistent small gains is the principle of nature, of physics, of all genuine creation. It asks for your faith in the process. It asks for your patience with the seasons. It asks for your courage to value the invisible work. In return, it gives you something no single event ever can. A character capable of sustaining success, and a life that is a true masterpiece of your own making.